Welcome to the Eschatology Podcast. This is Clifton, and I am here with Natan Budiono. Natan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me here, Clifton. I'm right here at the CES.
Yeah, we're at the CES 2018 at the Venetian, and thought this would be a good time to catch up with some people, Natan being the first. And Natan, can you give us some background on how you got into audio and car audio in specific?
Just to make it a long story short, basically car audio has been my hobby since I was a teenager. So I used to be tinkering around car audio when I was 14 years old, maybe in my home country from Indonesia. I've been doing a lot of home audio a little bit, but mostly I like cars. So I put some car audio system put some home box like a bookshelf speaker in my car. Sounds good, and a lot of my friends like it, and I even make some money by doing that. And long story short, I went to go to my college in America, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and continuing my degree in electrical engineering. And then I got hooked to a car audio competition later on, after I have my own business, having a car audio shop specializing in competition, and doing my first IASCA event in 95, actually 93. Yeah, and 3 events I won, and I won 3, both of them first place, so I got hooked, and then go on, and I got until now, so I don't know how much detail you want to be.
So what did your first system that you were proud of, what did that consist of?
Probably the one that when I had my own business in Milwaukee, it was my 1989 Suzuki Swift GTI. It was having a horn system with the image dynamics that was really hot setup in the 1990s. Used a 6.5-inch mid bass, so simple, just basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 speakers, 6-channel amp, and 2 subwoofer. And in the back, in the old days, all the tuning is done for 2 seats, so the horn can give me a good cross aiming, so we can create a nice center image, phantom center for both seats, doing it that way.
And you've definitely continued that tradition until now. Do you have anything that you've done differently in your systems now versus what you did then? What have you grown into as far as with DSP era and all that? Has that changed how you do things?
Yeah, especially as you know, my latest car is my Suzuki SX4. When I built that car, I challenged myself to put the speaker in a pillar, which is really the new trend right now. Everybody put the speaker in a pillar, but everybody can only do for one seat for a pillar. So I challenged myself to create the A-pillar mounted speakers for 2 seats car, but I have to use a center speaker to create the symmetrical center. And with the help of the DSP, that nowadays we can create all the manipulation of the signal that you can get. And mostly due to my personal career as an OEM sound tuner, almost every day my job is sound tuning. So I had a lot of experience in creating both sounds good for all seats, things like that. So I'm implementing it for my competition car.
So are you using a proprietary DSP that you've put together yourself, or are you using something off the shelf, or what are you doing there?
Yeah, currently the one that I'm using is not really available off the shelf. So based on my experience, my job, I'm creating my own algorithm in the DSP. It's nothing secret. I'm using a Sigma Studio. Analog Device is one of my sponsors, so they provide me with all of the algorithm libraries, so I can create my own DSP that would give me the sound that I wanted.
Gotcha. And are you using a three-way up front plus the center and then just a sub, or what are you doing as far as configuration there?
Three-way up front, center, sub, and I'm also using a rear speakers just to create the ambience, which is I use that every day for my OEM tuning, so I can get more realistic ambience and more natural sound field by doing it that way.
You do this every day with Harman, correct? You tuning different cars. I assume there's been some crossover in your competition experience affecting your day-to-day work and how you tune cars and vice versa.
It's actually very mutual. So both sides helping each other very well. So my competition helps me push myself to be the best. And with all of my experience in my day-to-day tuning, I can apply some of them to help me push myself to be the best. And after I achieve all of them in a competition, it also helps me in creating a good OEM system that I'm doing for every day. So it's very mutual.
What is the OEM system that you're most proud of being involved in, or something that, if somebody asks you about what you do for a living that does, is it involved in the industry? What do you pick out to tell them?
Two systems that basically two branded systems that I have involved heavily in the past. About 8 years ago, I created the Fender Audio, which is Fender Premium Audio, when I was working for Panasonic, for Volkswagen. And that has a real unique sound characteristic, which I implement some of my competition experience into the type of sound that I can create in the OEM. But that's kind of like a mid-grade system. But recently, since I'm joining the Harman with Mark Levinson audio system, which is the flagship audio from Harman, and I'm doing it for the Lexus, the highest level of the Toyota. And with all of the Harman high-quality products and support from them, it's giving me the beyond what my expectation, especially the latest LS Lexus that will coming in the next month, and the LC. It's shown that it's been winning a lot of praise from the press, things like that. So those two LS and the LC of the Lexus was my best accomplishment so far.
In terms of where competition is now and the traditional car audio field, you're coming to it from a different perspective. Being OEM, we discussed it prior, there's not a lot of people who are involved with both the OEM side and the car audio industry or competition. How do you think competition specifically could evolve or change or improve to better meet the needs of today's car audio with the OEM systems and where they're heading in direction? Are there things that either on the score sheet or in how things are judged, or the rules themselves, or determinations of how cars are set up, or anything like that you could see that would challenge the traditional car audio field to move toward the trends of the OEM systems?
There are several things that since I've involved heavily in both worlds, in OEM and also in competition, and the one that come to my mind right now is I'm always bothered by the competition vehicle that some people move the seat so far that it makes the car not even drivable.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I mean, it's a competition, but you should be able to create a car that sounds good with normal driving condition, normal driving position, I mean. So that's one of the things that I can come up right now. And also regarding the one-seat sound, yes, we can create the perfect one-seat sound by using all the DSP, time delay, everything like that. But to me, it's still sound processed, and we should be able to create we should bring back the old ways, which is like the two-seats sound in the competition, which even though it's not perfect, but to me, it feels more natural sounding, more like you're listening to a normal performance in front of you instead of one small sweet spot for one sitting. Those are that I can think of right now. So the one that kind of we should improve on that part.
Understood. What about on the hardware side, as far as the technology in the majority of the DSPs that are available to consumers today? Are all the tools there that are needed to create that, or are there tools that you're using in OEM work that could be applied to the aftermarket car stereo to better integrate?
As of now, recently there's a lot of DSP coming out, like from Audio Fisher, from Moscone, everything that have mostly already have features that I need. So for the most part, especially on the all-pass filter, which we never had that features before. A few years ago, we just had that one that would help a lot. It depends how you apply it, of course. And there's only minor things that I use in the OEM that's not available in the aftermarket, which is like a limiter or dynamic loudness to compensate the signal. If it's low, it's boosting certain way or something like that. But based on the performance of the aftermarket amplifier and the hardware, probably we can bypass that one. But as of now, the current DSP is quite capable.
How does I know it's a topic that a lot of people don't understand, but how does the all-pass filter work, and what applications would you use that? And is it something that you're just using for certain frequencies, or how do you apply the all-pass filter in a car audio system?
Yeah, it depends on the situation. Every car needs different way. Some cars have some cancellation in certain frequency range. We can use that to overcome the cancellation. Some cars doesn't have much, but we can use the all-pass filter to get more accurate imaging by adjusting certain way, which is it's another subject. It's a long story, but
Right.
yeah, that it basically there's not one way to adjust off-pass filter. It needs to be done depending on what's needed in every vehicle. It's different.
Understood. Okay. You're based in Japan, correct?
Yes.
Do you see the car audio trends with the enthusiasts and competitors? I don't know if you're involved there at all, or what you see there, but what would you say the differences are between the car audio culture there versus in the United States?
Unfortunately, every day I'm stuck doing my own work at the OEM, so I haven't really go to any competition or any other aftermarket events.
Okay.
I cannot tell much, but from an OEM point of view, the one thing I want to make sure most people saying that Japanese sound their preference is like this, European sound is like that, American sound is like that. I don't agree at all with that, because I have proven it many, many more times that once you tune a good, not just good, a right sound and good sound, every country will appreciate that. So there's no such thing as some country like that way or that way.
So that brings up another point. What do you use? I mean, obviously you're in a lab, you're trying to set up a vehicle that both objectively and subjectively is pleasing for the majority of people to listen to, since you're not trying to please judges, you're trying to please the normal demographic. What do you use as a reference when you're setting up these tunes in the OEM vehicles?
Nothing special. Basically, just make sure that all the frequency response are smooth and tonally well balanced. And my target is to create a safe sound, which, as you know, is impossible to please everybody with one sound. Everybody have their own preference here and there. But once you can give them a safe sound, which is everything is nice and smooth, not not too much treble, not too much balance. They can add whatever tone control that they want to make them happy. That's good enough for me.
Okay. Do you have any advice for somebody who's, whether they're an enthusiast coming in or coming into the industry? Are there any like big aha moments that you had during your career that you would pass on to yourself as a younger person?
Maybe most important for sound quality wise is to establish the reference, like you already asked before. So reference is the most important. If your reference is you listen to a lot of bass all the time, then it's not going to give you a success result in sound quality. So you need to establish the reference, which is easily can be done by listening to a lot of live concert or really high-end home audio system. Once you establish that, you get used to that type of sound, and if you have the passion to do any competition, then you will be more. It will be more helpful for you to be successful.
Working for Harman, you're working on OEM vehicles. How do the tools that you're using, do they differ from what the majority of the people tuning the cars are using? Or, I mean, are you using very sophisticated equipment and multiple microphones and all those types of things? Or are you using simple equipment with simple measures?
Probably the most high-end stuff would be the microphones. We have really high-end, very precise microphone instrument, and we use multiple microphones. So it's like a 6-mic microphone for each seats, and we use multiple, not even just for one seat, for at least two seats that we can monitor all the sound. And at the end of the day, I will not finish the tuning until I satisfy with both subjective and objective. So most of the time, people tune a car in a competition car. We basically tune it subjectively at the end. Once it's done, okay, let's do it. I would never let it go. I have to confirm again with the measurement. You will miss something that we don't hear. It both subjective and objective has to be agree. I hear this way. Yeah, I saw it on the measurement. I don't hear it. I don't see it. Both agree. Then it's final.
Do you use a proprietary RTA software, or using like a smart RTA or something like that? Or how are you averaging the microphones?
Currently, everything's proprietary. Yeah. So all it's done by internal.
Do you have multiple people that are involved in the listening process on the subjective side, or is that something you handle yourself, or how is that process handled?
As far as what I'm responsible right now, I'm responsible for Mark Levinson system. I'm the one that decides the final sound. So basically, I handle everything myself, and I decide the final sound. As long as I agree, everybody would agree.
That's quite a responsibility. What do you have any music tracks that you really like to use when it comes down to that final evaluation, and then just being able to kick back and listen to it and enjoy it?
There's so many of them. I cannot think of right now, but mostly something that I'm used to. One of them is I always listen to. One of my Sergio Mendes. I forgot what album it was, but also IASCA tracks has to be used. I always use that to judge the staging and imaging. It has to be. It has to pass the test.
Right. Anything else you have on your mind about competition or car audio, or anything you're excited about, or is there anything that you want to talk about?
I'm frustrated with the IASCA classification right now. The division.
How so?
I don't know. It's just go back and forth. I don't see any improvement so far. So as far as I still want to go back to like I said earlier, we should go back to the basic, the 2-seat sound. two-seat for everyone, back to original. That's the best way.
How would you, if you had a blank slate, how would you classify, I mean, how would you suggest classifying the vehicles? Would you go by experience plus modifications, or, between one seat and two seat? Would you bring the two seats classes on down into the lower classes as well, to where the majority of people are doing two seat, or what would you want to do there?
Maybe for starting, we should keep the one seat for the beginner, for the novice and amateur. But pro and up, we can make it simple. So novice, amateur, pro, expert. Just simple. No pro M, no pro two seats, no pro one seat, no pro ultimate. Just simple, like PU4.
So at pro, you would go to two seat at that point? Okay. Mm-hmm. What about as far as the evaluation side of things, the score sheet side of things? Do you think everything there is on par with, again, maybe not necessarily where we have been over the past 20 years, but where things are leading and what's possible technologically in the car audio systems coming of tomorrow, not just today and yesterday?
I think we're okay with the category on the score sheets. We may need to consider making the range on the score to be more reliable. I know that on IASCA all the tonality is so high, like we can score up to 20 points. That usually my experience is it make the inconsistency of the judging, because so big of a range to score. It is 17 or 16 or 18 that in the end 1 or 2 points could make an unfair judgment, and so we should make it more simpler, basically.
Do you have any suggestions on how we could make tonality more objective? As far as, here's a starting point, this is what that means, and you add points or deduct points based on certain criteria, or, a better training, better reference? What would be your suggestions there?
Yeah, number one, better training and better reference is the most important. And as far as the scoring, if you have a reliable judge that can decide what score needs to be based on the reference and the training and training is number one. That's because if we train consistently the same, then every judge should score the same way, because currently some judges score it different way. They have their own reference. We should not do that. We should have a reference instead of preference.
Some things that have been brought up in the past have been that it seems like some judges are wanting to hear more of a live sound and some are wanting to hear more of a studio sound. How would you define what the car audio sound in competition should sound like? Because obviously a lot of people say we want to create that live sound, but we're still recreating recorded music that was recorded in a certain way. We're simply reproducing that. And I assume having some control of ambience in the car with rear speakers and stuff like that, but then how do you differentiate that in different tracks when you're using 2-channel source material?
Yeah, that mostly due all the confusion mostly due to the interpretation, because some people say live, some people say, what do you mean live? My car is already live. Oh no, it's not live enough. So what is it? So back to what training has to be. Mm-hmm. So from the beginning, whatever organization they decide to be like this, you have to train the judge to have the reference like this. This is what A sound is. Any other organization, this is what B sound is. But right now, it's still open of interpretation is different. Every judge is.
In that training, what would you use for a reference to train those judges? And, we would obviously be using the source material, which would be from the IASCA disc and that, but what would the environment be that you would set up to properly train those judges to know what to listen for on those tracks?
It depends on what the organization decision. Like IASCA, if they want to be A sound, then make sure you maintain this A sound. It depends on every organization direction, basically. So I cannot decide what I cannot give any suggestion what reference needs to be. But once the philosophy is this, you need to reference it as this. So it's
So it sounds like kind of what you're saying is that the step one is the organizations need to decide a standard of what sound they're going for.
yes, yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about?
I'm okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for doing this with us. We really appreciate it. And are you going to be competing again this year?
Yes, of course.
Good. So we'll sign up the expert championship for you again.
I think so.
Are you making any changes this year? Are you keeping things the same, or you don't want to talk about it?
Hardware is the same. Software maybe big difference. So I will slowly implementing all of my, because currently I'm still using all of 100% pretty much aftermarket, even DSP kind of custom, but still not so much. But I'm starting to use all of my day-to-day equipment to put it in my competition car. So
awesome. Sounds great. Well, we look forward to hearing it, and we will talk soon, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Clifton.